Good morning and welcome to lesson 6 from unit number 6. I'm going to give you your warm-up to start with. So I'm going to pause this and you can work on this for a little while and I'll be right back with you. Okay. Our lesson today is on perimeter. And perimeter is the distance around the outside of a polygon. And my kids sometimes have trouble with knowing the difference between perimeter and area. So I threw a couple of friendly alligators in the middle of my pond here, and if I wanted to find the perimeter, I'd have to walk around the outside of it without getting my toes in the water, because the alligators would chop those off. So perimeter is the distance around the outside of a polygon. The polygon does not have to be a rectangle, but in this case it is. I'm going to put up a couple perimeter problems for you and see if you can find the perimeters for me. Okay, this is the first problem I want you to try to solve for me. So try to find the perimeter of this rectangle for me. And if you remember, the formula for perimeter is side plus side plus side plus side until you run out of sides. So if I wanted to find the perimeter of this rectangle, I would have to add up all my sides. My first side, now my marker might not be working on this, so I have to see where it's going to be. No, my first side is 9. So if I added 9 plus 3, I would get 12. Plus 9 more is 21. Plus 3 more is 24. So the perimeter of this rectangle is 24 centimeters. Okay, now I have another one for you, but on this one, I try to trick you a little bit. Let's see how you do finding the perimeter of this rectangle. Now in my class, what I always teach my kids is if two of the sides aren't labeled, I always want them to label it. So I'm going to go over to my computer and label those two sides. And now this might be a little bit easier for me to figure out the perimeter. So in this one, I'm going to add 12 plus 12 is 24. I'm going to have 5 plus 5 is 10. So in this one, my perimeter is going to be 34 centimeters. I hope that's the same answer that you got. It's always important that we have our units when we're figuring out perimeters. In perimeter, our units are never going to be square units. They're always just going to be plain old units. And they can be inches and centimeters and millimeters and miles and feet. Okay? I'm going to throw up another problem for you and see if you can figure out this one. Now, this problem might look a little different for you, but it's actually really not any different. I'm figuring out perimeter, so I'm still just figuring out the distance around the outside. This is not a rectangle. It's a parallelogram. You should still be able to do the same thing. You try to figure it out, and I'll go over and onto my computer and work on it for a second, and we'll see if we get the same answer. Again, I marked my sides because I just like to mark them. That way I know and I remember to add them. So this one, I can either start and add going clockwise. I could add going counterclockwise. Or if I have doubles, I always like to add my doubles together. So I have 8 plus 8 is 16. And 3 plus 3 is 6. So my perimeter on this one would be 22 centimeters. I hope that's the same answer that you got. I'm going to show you something, a little bit different way of solving a perimeter, and see if you can maybe do it this way also. So when I did this, I could have just done 3 plus 3 and 8 plus 8, which is actually the way I did it. Or I could have grouped these with parentheses, and whenever I group a problem with parentheses, it always means do what's inside the parentheses first. So I added these two together, and I got 16. I added these two together, and I got 6. I also have another rule in my class. Whenever I have parentheses, I always have to write the number above the parentheses what they're equal to. So this is equal to 16. And this is equal to 6. So if I add 16 and 6 together, I get 22. And if I did it this way, I got 22. And there's another way to do this. I'm going to just take that, I'm going to add my two sides, my 8 plus 3. And since I have two of them, I'm going to have to do it twice. This is a way of writing this same problem, just in a different way. So I'm going to have 8 plus 3, and 8 plus 3 is 11. Now, if I have a 2 on the outside of those parentheses, it means I have to do whatever inside those parentheses twice. So I need 2 11s. So my answer for that is 22. This is just 3 different ways of doing the exact same problem, and it's just whichever way you're most comfortable with. I have a feeling most of you are going to do it this way, but I know some of the kids that I work with will do it this way because it's just a way that sometimes you can do it quicker like that. Okay? Couple more problems for you. Now don't be afraid of this one. This one's just perimeter again, which just means I have to add up the numbers going around the outside. You can do this any way you want. You could start in one spot and go around and add them. That's the way I usually do it. Or you can look for good combinations. So I'm going to do it a couple different ways with you. But first I'm going to let you try to figure out the answer. So I would like you to pause yours, figure out the answer, and then we'll come right back and do it with you. Okay, hopefully you found an answer. Now I'm going to try to do it my way and see if we get the same answer. Whenever I have one that has more than one side, I always like to take my pen and mark on the side as I do it. So I'm going to do 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 9 is 19, plus 6 is 25, plus 2 is 27, plus 11 is 38, plus 3 is 41, plus 2 is 43. So if I did this right, I should have 43 centimeters for my answer. Is that what you got? Now, I can also do this another way, and I'll do it another way and see if I get the same answer. Because sometimes I see combinations that are really easy to add together. And I know 6 and 4 are 10, and 11 and 9 are 20, so 10 and 20 are 30, and 6 more is 36, 2 more is 38, 2 more is 40, 3 more is 43. So you can jump around on your sides like I just did, but whenever you do it, make sure to mark your sides so you make sure that you add all of them. So I did it 2 different ways. I got 43 both times, so I'm kind of happy with that. I'm going to throw one more problem at you, And this one has a little twist for you also. Okay, on this problem, I told you what the perimeter is. The perimeter is 30 inches. And I gave you all the sides except for one. So this time I have to try to figure out what my missing side is, not what my perimeter is. Think for a minute or two. See if you can figure out how to do this problem. I'm going to pause it for you, or you should pause yours, figure out the answer, and then I'll do it with you. We'll see if we get the same answer together. Okay, I'm back with you, and I'm going to make sure I mark my sides as I do this. And I'm going to start at the 9. So 9 plus 7 is 16. Plus 5 is 21. This one I don't know. Plus 2 is 23. Plus 3 is 26. So what I know I have is 26 inches. I'm going to drag that over here. And I know my whole perimeter is 30 inches. So if I want to find out this missing side, I'm going to have to do 30 minus 26. And that will give me my missing side. And my missing side should be 4, and my units are inches. So my answer is going to be 4 inches. Hopefully that's the answer you came up with. All right. Before we start the next part of the lesson, we sent you a link to get a piece of paper. It was called Paper Quadrilaterals, and we asked you to print that out. If you were able to print it out, good. If you weren't, maybe stop or pause your computer right now and run and see if you can get help from mom or dad or who's ever with you to print it out. The other thing you're going to need for this is a ruler, because we're going to have to measure some sides. Okay? So run to get those things, and I'll be right back with you. And what I would like you to do first is take your ruler, and we're going to use the centimeters side of your ruler, and I'd like you to measure the sides of this parallelogram. Whenever I measure a side, I make sure to write down the number above or next to that side, what it is. Okay? So go ahead and measure your 4 sides. And you might notice there's a little shortcut to this. If this is a parallelogram, I know that this side is the exact same length as this side. So you measure yours, I'll measure mine, and we'll see what we get. When I measure this side, I got 15 inches, 15 centimeters, I'm sorry. And when I measure this side, I got 4 centimeters. So this side is also 15 centimeters, and this side will be 4 centimeters. So if I want to find the perimeter of this, I have to add 15 plus 15, which will give me 30, and 4 plus 4, which will give me 8. And when I finish, I'll end up with 38 centimeters for the perimeter of the parallelogram. Next, what I'd like you to do is to go ahead and measure the sides of all of the shapes you have. And I'll see if I can scroll this down. So go ahead and do your trapezoid, your rhombus, your square, and your rectangle. And I'll come back and talk with you about what I found for my perimeters. Okay, let's start with the trapezoid. When I measured my trapezoid, I found this side to be 14 centimeters. I found the two slanted sides to be 6 centimeters each. And I found this side to be 8 centimeters. So my trapezoid had a perimeter of 34 centimeters. The next one I did was my rhombus. And the rhombus was really easy to measure because I know that a rhombus, all the sides are congruent. So I only really had to measure one side. I measured that one side and I found out it was 8. So I knew 8 plus 8 was 16. And 16 and 16 are 32. So the perimeter of my rhombus should be 32 centimeters. Now on my board, this might not look like a square to you, but it's supposed to be a square. The angle of it makes it look a little elongated. So when you measured this one, you only had to measure one side again because you know that all the sides of a square are congruent. And when I measured mine, I found each side to be 9 centimeters. So I had to say 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 9 plus 9, which is 18 more, and 18 and 18 are 36. So I came up with a perimeter of 36 centimeters for the square. And we have one more rectangle to do. And on my rectangle, my opposite sides are congruent. So I only had to measure this side and this side. When I measured this side, it was 16. This side was 4. So if I add 16 to 4, I got 20. And 20 and 20 are 40. So the perimeter of my rectangle is 40. I'm going to go back and hop back and do the warm-up problems with you, and then we'll turn you loose to get your work done today. Okay, let's go back and look how we did on our warm-up. The first one are just multiplication problems. Hopefully you're starting to get these really quickly and easily. 6 times 5. Hopefully everyone wrote down 30 for that. And 4 times 8. If I wasn't sure about that, I could double 8 and get 16. And double 16 and get 32. 7 times 6, the way I usually teach that, if I'm not sure about 7 times 6, but I know that 6 times 5 is 30, this is just going to be 2 more 6s. So that's going to give me 42. And 8 times 6, I'd like to do 8 times 5 is 40, and tack on 1 more 8 to get 48. My adding problem. A lot of you guys like to do standard algorithm and adding, lining up the numbers and adding them. The kids in my class know I really like to do give a little, take a little. So I decided to give 11 from this 235 to the 489. That ended up with 500 on that side and 234 on this. Oh, 224. I have to make, even I make mistakes. Sorry about that. Now I can add those two numbers together real easily. 224 plus 500 is going to give me 724. For some reason, I think that's easier than doing standard algorithm. Okay, and for the word problem, there were 8 third grade students that went out on a frog hunt. Each student caught 6 frogs. I gave you the answer to that already. It's up here. They decided to play an April Fool's joke on their teachers, so they put an equal amount of frogs in the 3 drawers of their teacher's desk. How many frogs were in each drawer? So I went back up here and looked. Remember that problem? I had 48. Now I have 3 drawers and I have 48 frogs. So I'm thinking, what's the biggest number I can share here that's going to be easy? And first, I have 48. And I can put 10 frogs in this one. Sorry that I have to use my mouse to try to write with. My pen on my smartboard is not justified. So I don't know where my pen writes when it's on there. The kids in my class know it happens all the time, and it's not fun. So I used up 30 of them. So I'm going to take 30 away from this, and now I have 18 left to share. I know I could put 5 in each one of these. Maybe I should do it with numbers. That would have been easier. And I can get rid of the 18. I only have 3 left. So if I have 3 left to share, I could put 1 in each of them. And I came up with a total of 16 frogs in each one of my drawers today, and I wasn't very happy about that. Okay. Hold on for a second. I'll give you your lesson for your pages today that you can post for me. It's a good day for work for you guys today. All you have to do is page 202 in your book and your student book, and there's no home links to do, or home connection pages to do today. Well, hopefully I wasn't too shaky. I don't like doing things in the video. I don't like to be recorded, but hopefully you guys have fun with your math today. Have a good day, and we'll see you another time.